Why live in Etobicoke? Welcome to Tea at Taxevity, where you get insights from insiders who make life better, our many clients and friends. I'm Pramod Sharma, the actuary at the Taxevity Insurance Advisory, and when I'm not doing interviews, I help people transfer risks with insurance. Our guest today is Ralph Evans. Welcome, Ralph.
Hi, Pramod.
Thanks for joining us today. Please tell us what you do when you're not being interviewed.
Well, thanks, Pramod. Well, there's a lot of things that I do, but my primary focus is helping the people of Etobicoke with their real estate needs, which is buying, selling, and investing in the houses and condos of the area.
And Etobicoke is an excellent place to live. We've both lived here since the late 1990s, and I don't feel like moving anywhere else. I don't know if you do.
Yeah, it is a great place, and typically, like yourself, people will buy a home here and stay for decades and decades. It isn't really great for real estate because people don't like to move.
Oh, interesting. When was the area developed? Do you know the history?
So particularly the area here of Central Etobicoke was built post-Second World War, would be from 1945 into the early 1960s.
Okay, and was this considered in town or
so at the time
in the country?
It was really the edge of the city, or it was the suburbs. It's hard to imagine.
Okay.
But it was the suburbs at the time, and so compared to homes further downtown, the houses are built on a little bit more spacious lots. We find a lot of 50-foot, 60-foot, 70-foot lots in the area. You're almost guaranteed of having a private driveway. There's very few shared driveways, or like downtown, have on-street parking, laneway parking, things like that. So the homes were truly developed after automobile ownership was well established. So
so the ones that were closer downtown were
if they're built in the 1920s. Particularly, a lot of homes were built in the 20s and the 30s in Toronto, and people didn't really own a car yet. It was only a few select affluent people that had cars. So these neighborhoods have really been retrofitted over the years of how are we going to accommodate cars. So, particularly the Bloor West Village, people think it's a great place to live. But after a few years of being stuck with on-street parking and nowhere to put their snow, they look for somewhere else to live.
Yeah, because we had that very issue that we used to live in a place and we had laneway parking and they couldn't plow the streets all winter because there was no place. There were cars parked everywhere. And we felt so much better when we moved to Etobicoke, basically 3 times the land, close to a lot of things. It just felt very different.
Well, and now we have many families have 2 cars, or their kids have a car, and having the ability to park all those is great.
Yeah, so double driveway, double garage is nice to have.
Yeah.
What are the demographics of people living here?
So that it was developed at that time, and people have stayed in their homes for a long time. We still have a number of the original people who moved here at that time, living here. So there are a lot of seniors, and bit by bit it is moving to a younger crowd. Homes aren't cheap in Etobicoke, so it's not really a lot of really young families, first-time home buyers. It tends to be more move-up buyers who have purchased their first home in the suburbs somewhere, in Pickering, in Milton, in Barrie, and they've chosen now that they'd like to be living in Toronto. The value of being in Toronto, being accessible by TTC, close to get downtown, and everything else of being a part of the city.
One of the things I've noticed over time is that in the past people would buy a house and they do some minor renovations like kitchen, bathroom sorts of things. But now I'm seeing a lot of houses where they just tear down the whole thing and rebuild it.
Yeah. So the housing stock of Etobicoke, that they were originally built on fairly substantial properties, modest houses, so that the house doesn't fill the whole land.
Right.
It's there's in modest proportion. It means that these properties, given current zoning, can support the building of a much larger and more modern home. So there are a lot of builders and developers who are looking at the homes of Etobicoke to either massively renovate them or simply just to tear them down and start again. And that the result is that they build a modern home that will appeal to today's younger generation. They're beautiful homes, although some people are also willing to live in the original homes of the 1950s. They're smaller. The bedrooms are 10 by 10, 10 by 12.
Right.
You get a small closet, and you
no
simply,
walk-in closet.
Yeah, it doesn't have the ensuite washrooms.
Right.
It doesn't have all these modern conveniences, but people are willing to trade the convenience of living in the city for having a giant home. If you want a big home, you move to Vaughan or somewhere has tons of these big homes at reasonable prices.
Yeah, ever since I was a kid, I always liked the idea of having some grass around me and some mature trees. And here, those things are possible.
Absolutely. Very walkable neighborhoods, livable neighborhoods.
So who is buying these houses nowadays?
Well, what we're seeing really is a shift in the demographics of the neighborhood. When the homes were originally built, they were really middle class working people who would be purchasing the bungalows and the modest suburban homes of Etobicoke. And those people are continuing, particularly move-up buyers, families, are purchasing the existing homes. But then there are the new homes that are the replacement homes, selling for over $1 million, anywhere from $1 to $2 million, depending on the neighborhood and the size. And so it is pushing the demographics up in Etobicoke, more affluent people. They may well be working professionals. Husband and wife may both work in a professional job downtown or all over the city.
And there also seem to be builders that are buying these properties too.
Yeah, so they build it, they buy it initially. There is this competition when a house goes up for sale and you don't really know who the buyer is going to be. Whether it's just somebody who's happy to buy the current home and maybe fix it up to meet their needs, or it could also be a builder who will do something totally different with them. And the builders do tend to have a little bit more money than just the homeowner anxious to buy a home that they can move into and just scrape and get by with just that home.
Is in Etobicoke, would you say it's a buyer's market or a seller's market?
Oh, very definitely a seller's market. Is very, very strong towards the seller. They command the marketplace. Is typically we will take a home, is to reasonably price it and to allow 1 week of exposure in the marketplace, and at the end of the week allow offers. And very done properly, it will generate at least one, but hopefully 3 or 4, and occasionally somebody ends up with 10, 20 or more offers for their home, and it's through that process that they get an amazing selling price for their home.
Well, that's interesting, because each time we bought a property, no one else seemed to want it until afterwards, which was good for us.
Yeah, so it is a fascinating marketplace that we're in right now.
Not everyone is able to buy a single-family home. I've noticed that there are condos in Etobicoke also. Are people living there, or are they investing in these properties? What's going on there?
Yeah, so sure, we see all over Toronto, condominiums have sprung up everywhere, and Etobicoke is a part of that as well. We really have a few neighborhoods that see the most condominiums. One would be the Humber Bay area along the waterfront.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other would be in a cluster around the Kipling subway station, the Islington and the
Yes.
Kipling subway station. There's a new project coming on called the Kip Condo. Is going to replace the area that has been a Canadian Tire store on Dundas.
Well, I was wondering, because that's been vacant for years, and it looks like very prime real estate.
So it's going to be another 5 towers, as many buildings as Tridel built opposite the Kipling subway station.
Okay.
And it will take them several years to sell all those units and develop all those. So yeah, condos are here to stay. They are popular with young people. Condos have become the new first-time home buyers property. There's a lot less building going on in the outer suburbs of houses. Young people like the urban experience and to be here. A lot of the condos are purchased as investments as well.
Okay.
In the newer buildings, often 50 and 60% of these suites are purchased as an investment. These people are happy to hold the property for a number of years and actually are providing the rental stock to the city. And they're looking for people who don't have the means to buy a property themselves is to be their tenant.
Right, because there don't seem to be as many apartment buildings anymore.
Yeah, so purpose-built buildings have almost gone away. New construction of those buildings.
And how many bedrooms do these condos tend to have?
Most suites that get built are just a 1-bedroom suite. It's really popular in renting, and for young people living on their own, either to buy it or to rent, is a 1-bedroom apartment is enough space for them.
Okay.
Until they become a couple, a young married couple, or young married couple with children, and suddenly they need a little bit more space. They still may not have the means to purchase a house, so the condominium is a very viable choice for them.
Mm-hmm.
But having a 2-bedroom, even 3-bedroom suite is more desired. So we do see a split in the condo market between the 1-bedrooms, and 2-bedroom suites are actually appreciating in value more rapidly than the 1-bedrooms, just because there's supply and demand. There's way more 1-bedroom suites than 2-bedroom.
When you're not involved with real estate, you've also started a couple of organizations. One is the Etobicoke Business Network, which is how we met a number of years ago. Would you please tell us how you got started there? What was your thinking?
Okay. So in my real estate practice, way back when, I actually belonged to the Etobicoke Chamber of Commerce, and I thought it was a great organization. It ultimately got taken over by the Toronto Board of Trade, and as an Etobicoke group, it ceased to exist. And we really lost the opportunity to bring together small businesses and local entrepreneurs to find each other and connect with each other. And so I wanted to create something to fill that void.
I've attended the kinds of events that you're holding, and they're well attended and there's a good atmosphere there. It's really great that you've taken the initiative to do something like that. When did you start?
Well, I've been doing networking for probably 8 or 9 years, but I started the Etobicoke Business Network about 3 years ago. Grew out of some other earlier groups. It's grown to about 300 people. We hold 2 events every month. Is an evening business networking after hours event at a local pub, and we also do a breakfast meeting. Each meeting attracts a different crowd and has a different feel to it. Some people are uncomfortable doing networking in a bar situation, and some people, breakfast is too early for them. So
Yes, I fall into that category. Towards the end of the day is a lot better. But yes, I understand some people love doing their networking before they get to work.
I call it mind over mattress.
Nice way of putting it.
And you've got to have the desire to get up early and do business.
And then you've got another group that I didn't know about until we met today. What's that one called?
My second group is called the Etobicoke Social Meet and Greet.
And what does that group do?
So you see, all my groups have an Etobicoke focus.
I can tell.
This group really just brings together local people in the community, the citizens of Etobicoke, to find each other and connect with each other. We hold all sorts of community social events. We went to the Taste of the Kingsway in the summertime. We may go to a pub. We will go walking in local parks, summertime, wintertime, to the Arboretum in Centennial Park. The Santa Claus Parade, the Etobicoke Santa Claus Parade is coming up, and we'll do an event around that. It's just a way to get people out of their homes and to let them enjoy the community.
It's really nice you've got these initiatives to help the community feel more like a community. What's your key message for our viewers today?
Well, I have one for seniors, particularly seniors of Etobicoke, and I wouldn't be surprised if they receive a knock on their door from somebody looking to buy their home.
That really happens?
All the time.
Okay.
And if you're not ready to move, that's great. Stay exactly where you are and stay there for as long as you can. But if you are in a position where you are looking to make a move, I would highly recommend that you not deal with these people. They are looking to rip you off. They have a much better knowledge of the current market and the prices. It is in your best interest to hire a real estate agent. It doesn't need to be myself, but any real estate agent will protect your interests much better, and you will end up thousands of dollars ahead in the end.
Okay, that makes sense. What's the best way for people to reach you?
Well, I have a number of interests. The best one would simply be through my primary real estate website, is www.realestatehelpdesk.ca.
Oh, that's an interesting website. It's something that I can remember.
I try to be memorable.
Okay, thanks for dropping by.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for joining us for Tea at Taxevity. The Taxevity Insurance Advisory helps you understand insurance and bridges gaps in your coverage. There's no premium for peace of mind. How healthy is your insurance?